So hi everyone, we're back with our first session for today. We have Pereira from Australia joining us, and he's going to talk about generative AI beyond the hype. So I'm really looking forward to this session. So welcome to the show.
Hey, hello everybody.
Hello.
How are you today?
How are you?
Excellent. How are you today?
Very good, very good. Are you ready to kick off this amazing event?
Yes, I'm ready.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
But before you start with your actual content, can you tell us a bit about yourself?
Oh, yes, of course. So my name is Pereira. I work at KPMG Australia as an associate director, and my specialty is emerging technologies and IT strategy. So we talk about roadmaps for companies and enterprise architecture and the art of the possible in technology.
That sounds exciting. So exciting times for you now, right?
Yes, excellent. Yeah, it's exciting times for everybody involved in that sort of field. I guess, as you can see, AI has been a very transformative technology for everybody involved and making a democratization of knowledge for everybody.
Yeah, totally true. So are you ready?
Yes, I'm already presenting here. Yes.
And the floor is yours. Good luck.
All right, thank you very much. All right, everybody. Good morning. I hope everybody can see me and hear me okay. So my name is Edge, and today I'm very excited to talk to you about AI because I think AI may change our world and give us something vastly more powerful than what we have today. With AI, we effectively can make history together. And personally, what I think AI is to me is the most remarkable technology tool created so far. As a cyclist myself, I like to compare AI as a bicycle for the computer knowledge that we have today. So I've got more things to talk to you about today. So let's get started. So the first one I want to talk to you about today is about the history of AI, the origins of the AI so far. So what we're gonna see is imagine a world where machines think and interact like humans. So this dream began taking shape as early as 1927 with Fritz Lang visionary movie Metropolis. It showed a city, a futuristic city with a humanoid robot that ignited the imagination of everybody around artificial intelligence. Fast forward to 1943, so we met Alan Turing, a pioneer whose work laid the foundation for what we know as modern computing and AI. So his ideas about the machines that could think led to the development of the what's so-called the artificial neural networks. In 1950, we have the classic from Isaac Asimov, I, Robot, which further popularized the concept of intelligent machines. And then in 1955, a significant milestone at Dartmouth College. There was a summer workshop led by many experts in many domains, from machine learning, neural networks, led by Professor John McCarthy. And they were there gathered to discuss new ideas and debate how to approach intelligent machines. Then the term artificial intelligence was born. So Professor John McCarthy coined that term, artificial intelligence, making the formal start of this field. In the 60s and 70s, there were a period of pioneering innovations. In 1964, we had our ELIZA, which was the first chatbot, which simulated a conversation, tricking people into believing they were actually talking to a human. In 1969, we saw the born of backpropagation. Backpropagation algorithms is what made possible neural networks in revolutionizing them and the first steps in the direction of machine learning. During this era, we also saw the first intelligent robots and the development of voice-activated technology like Speak and Spell, which was a toy that actually contained what we so-called the voice on a silicon. Also, at the same time, I'd like to talk to you about a concept called AI winter. So the AI winter was a period of reduced funding and interest of artificial intelligence research. You'll see that AI field has had several hype cycles as we are experiencing one now. So those hype cycles are followed by a bit of disappointment and criticism, which then followed by funding cuts, which then is followed by renewed interest, or even decades later, as you're gonna see. But in the 80s, we saw the beginning of finally commercial AI. So at XCON, a product developed by DEC Computers, it was like what we call today a wizard, where people could order and build their own computers. So that was the first time the AI has been used commercially. And then we saw Japan investing what we call today in today's money, $2 billion in something called the fifth generation computer. So that computer, it was aimed to create a computer that could translate, converse in human language, and express reasoning on a human level. Also, we saw the second AI winter as well. But it was in the 90s that AI truly began to shine. In 1997, we saw IBM's Deep Blue defeating the chess grandmaster Garry Kasparov, a landmark moment demonstrating all AI's potential. The turn of the century, around that time, we saw significant advancements in autonomous vehicles. We saw DARPA, which heralded an era of self-driving technology with the competition of universities and self-driving cars. We also saw Microsoft's Windows Vista, who introduced us to Windows Speech. Finally, voice recognition arrived to the masses. We saw the rise and the evolution of the social media algorithms, where our expressions and desires and needs were cataloged and used to predict our behaviors and patterns. We saw IBM's Watson victory in Jeopardy, where a computer would beat two experts in the field answering questions on live TV. And the launch of Siri signaled AI's growing influence in our daily lives. Now, since 2012, we have witnessed remarkable breakthroughs. We saw Google's AI application that recognized cats in videos, signaling the advancements of the first image recognition systems. But also we saw controversies, such as the letter against autonomous weapons. A new field then started to emerge with ethical debates around the usage of AI. Notably, we have Sophia, the first citizen robot who gained citizenship by Saudi Arabia. And AlphaGo defeated the Go champion Lee Sedol, one of the greatest Go masters to ever play the game. Machines who once were formidable adversaries to us now ascended to a divine rank. Humans now are no longer expected to beat machines. So AI's capabilities were then further showcased when Alibaba's bot passed the Stanford reading test. And Baidu's Qianxi quantum computer achieved what we call today as quantum supremacy. Quantum supremacy demonstrates that a quantum computer can solve a problem which has been marked as unsolvable by classical computers in any feasible amount of time, regardless of how useful it was. More recently, we had OpenAI, ChatGPT, and DALL-E, which have amazed us, the world with their linguistic and creative abilities. Then we saw the emergence of deepfakes and their actual impact in the society. As we look to the future, the journey of AI is far from over. It continues to evolve, promising to reshape our world in ways that we are only beginning to imagine. Now, what I would like to talk to now is how generative AI makes us better, makes our society better, makes us more empowered. On a personal and professional level, I think leaders must take charge of this moment and lead the delivery of platforms which are capable of serving this new intelligent market. There are trillions of dollars of additional revenue for everybody on the table for the next decade. And I would like to show you 3 examples of how these markets are being transformed. First up, I would like to talk to you about the AI in art and design. Now, let's not the type of art that you forget to hand in at school, but art created by AI. Here is a fascinating case, which was the first AI piece sold in a major auction house. It was sold by more than $432,000. So this was an algorithm created by an artist composed in 2 parts. So one side had the generator and the other was the discriminator. So that system has been fed data from 15,000 portraits, which were painted between the 14th to the 20th century. So the generator makes a new image every time, like we see today with DALL-E, based on that data set. And then the discriminator tries to spot the difference between what has been created by the algorithm and what has been created by humans. That competition between those 2 parts of the system ended up creating that art that you see today. And the objective was to make sure that the generator fooled the discriminator. And that's what we have as a result. So the portrait of Edmond Bellamy was the picture you see on the left is the one that we're talking about, has been sold as the first AI piece sold in a major auction house. Some critics, of course, argue that this artwork was merely low-resolution images in mere textures. It's part of the debate about what is art and what qualifies as a role of human intervention in AI-generated pieces. Next, I want to talk to you about in movies. So consider this scenario. A movie director, he writes a script with actors in mind, directed, edited, adjusted, and he very careful with not just the words, but the nuance of how they might sound on the screen or the inflection the actors is implied on the text. and the details of the actor's expression. Then this movie is released in a non-English speaking country, like, for example, Brazil, where I come from. And according to some critics, it is ruined because of the missing translation. So, for example, movies like The Avengers might have the same voice for characters like Iron Man, Captain America, and The Vision, for example. So another aspect that is missing here is the PG-13. The PG-13 is the sweet spot for movie revenue. So if a movie has too many F-bombs, of course, that movie cannot be classified as a PG-13 anymore, missing on a very lucrative demographic. So what this company did was is using generative AI to change the voice, change actors' expressions, change the language, and even remove and replace F-bombs to a more family-friendly sample. All this without having to reshoot any scenes. That's a fascinating example of how to use generative AI to affect art. Now, let's talk a little bit about AI used in mental health. And I'd like to take a little or a different take on what the deepfake technology, so which often seen so negatively, but it has a potential, a compassionate application in dealing with loss and grieving by creating lifelike simulations of a deceased loved one. So deepfakes can be used to provide comfort to those mourning by recreating moments based on recorded messages of pieces of speech of people, bringing back those fond memories. So this technology can serve as a bridge in the grieving process, for example, allowing for a temporary yet meaningful connection with those who have passed. It also could be used to fulfill last wishes, to deliver unfinished goodbyes, to make the next generation interact with their ancestors and in a way that is healing and therapeutic and useful for families. However, ethical considerations and the emotional impacts of such interactions starts to arise, and how this technology should be used in that manner. Which brings us to this other point here about ethics into generative AI. So generative AI works like this. So it generates a sentence, and then it generates another sentence which matches and makes sense to the previous one, and so on. So at this stage, we are at the very beginnings of this technology. And their main objective right now is to look convincing instead of looking truthful. Oftentimes you get in situations like this example. So these are what we call hallucinations. As if you don't know, in reality, France had nothing to do with the construction of the Venus Tower. However, generative AI makes it confidently an assessment that it has. Now, talking about what is responsible and what is irresponsible AI. So irresponsible usage of AI is reflected our own human bias into that. So you see examples of this when a bank offers better loans to men than women, or when an algorithm identifies a thermometer in a white hand and a gun in a black hand. So ethics and responsible AI tries to address those situations before they occur. Now, talking about ethical challenges, so far, most discussions on ethics are placed as an afterthought, like when we started introducing cell phones to our kids, right? So now we are just experiencing a set of unintended consequences and the impact of this decision done a decade ago. For the first time with AI, ethics and that discussion is happening before and during implementation. Maybe this over time might even reverse some of the negative sentiment around AI in the future. So, for example, deepfakes into information manipulation. So this video showed at the beginning of the Ukraine war, which was a deepfake that showed the president Volodymyr Zelensky seated with his head moving and his body largely motionless, right? So calling for citizens of his country to stop fighting Russian soldiers and to surrender their weapons. Of course, this was a deep fake, but there was the how AI to influence politics. Of course, that video is fake, but then we see AI coming into the politics more and more. We saw recently AI being used by politicians to create entirely new sets of laws being approved without nobody knowing that has been secretly written by ChatGPT, which undermines the transparency and the discussion process. We saw the first large studies on racism, sexism, and other forms of biases coming into play, where analysis has been performed in many large language models, where you give them context and the language model implies what that means. So, for example, if you provide the term herself, the stereotype that the language model gives you is she is unsure of herself, which implies that is a woman, and it implies that she is unsure of herself. Or when you give a nationality, and then the model, the language model implies a negative aspect reflected in that response. Now let's play a game to talk about the problem with bias, right? So imagine you are a software developer asked to implement a Gen AI image model. Should you generate images of a CEO? It should be the men, images of man after man after man, which represents largely the reality, or should you generate a diverse version of that image, which might not be biased, but certainly does not represent our current reality? So is, in your opinion, this image biased? Yes or no? Am I biased, actually? Putting the button yes as a first option. So you see, these are the challenges that we have with bias at the moment. And not only this, but while you keep on this, let's talk a little bit about fairness. Consider this, there is no single definition for bias. There is also no single definition for fairness. So this is what you see here is the common traditional definition for fairness. But I can find many more definitions that actually can rival that. As a matter of fact, I can find at least 21 types of fairness. And sometimes those meanings, they tension with each other. So when companies say, we are tackling bias, we are making our algorithm fair, what do they mean by that? Truth is, even AI with the best intentions, with the best developers, still have to face trade-offs where maximizing one type of fairness might sacrifice another one. So where do we start? How can we start tackling those issues? So research shows that there are 5 common types of AI ethics. This shows accountability, being human-centric and social beneficial, being fair, offering explainability and transparency, and being safe and secure, with just starting points of your own implementations for ethical addresses. Now, I believe AI is not only another technology, right? I think it's not like a new business trend, like digital transformation. I believe AI is a profound shift in how we interact with machines. We have human intelligence, we have emotional intelligence, and we have to learn now how to live with artificial intelligence, which is a new intelligence. So there are a few predictions for the future of AI. So by 2026, we expect 100 million people to engage with robot colleagues. And throughout 2026, despite all advances in AI, there is an expectation that the global market will be neutral. And by 2033, AI solutions introduced will augment and or autonomously deliver tasks, activities, or jobs, including there is an expectation that at least 10% of people will be managed by AI. Of course, there is a discussion about the displacement of certain types of jobs, how this will impact equality, and how it is going to be doing fairness and diversity. But what we have to focus on and that we should strive as leaders to distribute all the AI opportunities equitably. And as today, we still outperform AI in most tasks, right, for now. But there is an expectation that as time goes by, AI is going to catch up much, much quickly. Now, looking to the future, there is an expectation by 2025 that generative AI will create 50% of all new content on the internet, and billions will be stolen using deepfake technologies. By 2027, society will struggle to find reliable data to train on.
Hi, Edge. Sorry to interrupt.
Hello.
Hello, thank you for your session.
We are unfortunately going to have to wrap up to keep ourselves on time. Do you have any final call to actions that you wanted to call out?
Oh, no, actually, thank you very much, and apologies for going a little bit over. I had only 1 or 2 minutes left, but I guess the most, what I would like to call out here is to make sure that understand that AI is a very hyped technology, so be mindful and be responsible on the usage and how this is going to be implemented, and make sure that it's fair, equitable, and accessible to everybody. Thank you very much, and I hope everybody enjoys the conference and the rest of the sessions.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Ed, for really setting us up for a good opening there, super broad, like being able to cover all of that piece around ethics. So really appreciate you coming. Sorry we had to cut you just a couple of minutes short there. But yeah, we want to make sure obviously we can stay on time, because if we get late this early on, we've got no chance of ending. We'll be here all night. So we really appreciate you opening up for us, and we will speak to you soon.